This Mediterranean salami is easy to make and has a ton of unique flavor. First of which is fresh lemon zest, dried oregano, and ground long black pepper. Long black pepper is a super unique spice that has characteristics of heat and musk of regular black peppercorns, but also subtle notes of nutmeg and cardamom. This spice has also been traced back to being used in ancient Roman cooking and medicine recipes. Very cool. Of course, we also need salt to bring out all the flavors and help the salami dry. And I also use pink curing salt number 2, which has sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate to help protect against botulism toxin. It also gives a bright pink color and cured flavor. Using a gram scale for exact measurements is highly recommended. Next, I have a bacteria culture blooming in distilled water 30 minutes prior to mixing. I use BLC007, which is a great culture to ferment at room temperature. I also use a gram scale here to measure out an exact amount. The bacteria culture needs a food source, which I have dextrose sugar, which is easiest for lactic acid producing bacteria to consume. Last but not least, I used my SDX Turbo Force grinder with a 1/4 inch plate to grind fatty pork shoulder through. Okay, for mixing, I always add the bacteria culture in first, to let it get first dibs on the surface area of the meat. Second, I'll add the dextrose, so the food source is readily available. For this batch, I'll be using my hands to mix, consistently squishing, mashing, and turning the meat. After the bacteria culture and dextrose has been mixed in, I will add the salts. Mix, 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 until I feel a bind starting to form. Then, I will add the rest of the ingredients. Citrusy lemon zest, herbaceous oregano, and funky fruity long black pepper. I mix this until the bind is stringy and sticky, like so. Okay, for stuffing salami mede, I'll be using this trusty 5-pound Lem sausage stuffer, and I'll keep close by a sharp knife, a 3-pronged sausage pricker, butcher's twine, a pound scale with a plastic bag over it to help portion the links, and for the casing, I'll be using cut and tied hog after ends purchased from Kraft Butcher's Pantry. They're packed in salt, so it's best to rinse them with lukewarm water and to help rehydrate the casing. This can be done up to 24 hours in advance. Okay, to fill the stuffer, I add some of the meat mix and punch it down. This helps mitigate large air pockets that could potentially end up in the salami. As I stuff the salami, I am trying to fill the casing up tightly, but not so tight that it may burst. I am aiming for about 1 pound of meat in each link for consistency during drying. With the open end of the link, I like to tie what is known as a bubble knot with the extra casing, which is simply making a tie and folding over the extra casing and tying it down on itself. This helps lock in the casing from possibly slipping out. I also always make an extra hook loop in case the factory hook loop fails for some reason. I will also put 2 to 3 ties in the middle of the link to help mitigate the meat mix from settling towards the bottom during fermentation. And lastly, I will poke holes all over the links to help with drying and eliminate any pockets of air that may have gotten trapped during stuffing. Quick note about making salami and things alike. I definitely recommend checking out Good Manufacturing Practices for Fermented and Dried Meats. That explains in detail the parameters, dangers, and guidelines on how to prepare salami safely. These guidelines are what I follow and I've never had any issues. Website link below. For fermenting, I hang all the salami on my dry storage rack and place a food-grade plastic bag over the top to help keep high humidity and keep out bugs or foreign objects. With the meat left over in the stuffing tube, I'll make a small chub wrapped in plastic wrap to ferment alongside the other salami, to then test the pH drop instead of poking holes in the cased links. I use a small temp and humidity reader during fermentation to help me understand consistencies or fluctuations in the environment. Sleepy time! Okay, 18 hours later and I'm ready to do the first pH check. With my properly calibrated Milwaukee pH meter, I will look for the first reading. Looks like it's at 5.37 pH. So what I'll do is wait about 6 to 8 more hours until it reads under 5.2 pH. Alright, after it hit the 5.2 pH, it's ready to hang alongside with its friends in my wine cooler I use for drying meats. Be sure to check out my Dark Knight salami and venison and mulberry salami videos. Over the next 45 days, I keep the temperature at about 50 degrees and I slowly bring the humidity down from 95% to about 75%. This slow reduction in humidity is going to help prevent case hardening, which is not good at all for air-dried meats, as it throws off the texture completely, but also allows maximum flavor to develop. Okay, 45 days later, we have about a 40% drop in original weight. It's ready, baby. Let's cut into it. Sheesh, look at that beauty. Oh man, the texture is just perfect and the aroma is amazing. I can really smell the beautiful aromatic scent of this salami. This is truly one of my favorites. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe.